Hello, and welcome to another episode of Child Abuse Awareness with Darlene J. Clark. Be a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. Please like, subscribe, and share. Without further ado, let me go ahead and get a couple Bible verses here. In Matthew 18, verse 6, "But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, that he were drowned in the depth of the sea." Matthew 18, verse 10, "Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones, for I say unto you, that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven." Colossians 3:21, "Fathers, do not embitter your children, or they will become discouraged." We need to remember to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed, take up the cause of the fatherless, be the case of the widow. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips a balance in favor of fair use. Along the bottom of the screen, I'll be having text home to 741 if you need free confidential 24/7 mental health support. Bullying is no joke, and if you're dealing with it, you deserve help because everyone deserves kindness and compassion. From how to make it through the school day to how to ask for help, we got your back. Hey there, Jackie, good to see you. Thanks for coming. How are you doing today? I had seen this video at YouTube, and so I looked up some information so we can get this out there. Stop bullying. Kids are suffering. One family story that should have not happened. But there are other families that this has happened to as well. Everybody's got a bullying story, I'm sure. Some people end up losing their lives because of it. The system fails them and they're not protected. This that's a problem with this case as well. Without further ado, I'll go ahead share the entire screen. I need to go ahead and mute my mic as well so that you'll be able to hear the news report. Bad situation.
Here in the East, now to a tragic story out of Indiana, where a 10-year-old boy has committed suicide, apparently, after facing relentless bullying at school, despite his parents complaining to school officials a bunch of times.
Such a sad story. Shanley Painter has the story on this.
Yeah, it really is, guys. So according to his family, the fourth grader was bullied right up until the night he died by suicide. Sammy Touche was just 10 years old. His family says his classmates made fun of his glasses, his teeth, that he was beaten up on the school bus, and even more. After complaining to administrators, they say more than 20 times, nothing was done. In his statement, Sammy's dad says, quote, "I just want him to never be forgotten. To put that little boy into words is just impossible. The people that got to know him are definitely blessed to have known him. How could God take my kid from here?" Of course, that was going through my head. God didn't take my kid, hate did. Now, the school district superintendent has denied the family submitted any bullying reports. However, in a statement, the school acknowledged staff having regular conversations with the family, saying, quote, "The death of Samuel Touche is tragic and it has left our school, corporation, and larger community in tremendous grief. Our staff in Greenfield Central has worked with the Touche family quite a bit over the last 18 months, and contact between school personnel and the parents was frequent. We are investigating their claims related to bullying." Now, Sammy's family is hoping that this tragedy is impetus for more to be done to protect children during the school day, and a candlelight vigil is planned in Sammy's honor on Friday. Guys.
That is heartbreaking.
I don't think the family has said how he died. It's just so sad that a 10-year-old would attempt that or even know how to do that. Bless his heart. Gosh, I mean, if this is happening at your school, these administrators need to work really hard. I don't know all the details of it,
which is crazy because we were growing up, I never even heard of teachers being proactive on bullying. I never heard of now there's programs about this. You got NFL players, professional athletes talking about it. And it's just, and the fact that it's happening now is more unfathomable.
Well, because a lot of it, and we've seen this across the board, is from social media.
Yeah. But remember being on the school bus, if someone was being bullied, a bunch of our friends would step in and be like, stop picking on them.
Right.
It's just, I don't know why more kids aren't doing that these days. Maybe they want to stay out of it.
I'm with Steve. It's the social media. That's why they need to bring this stuff down. It happens at home,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like Florida. They can't get on social media.
And your school signed a pledge, right? No social media.
Yeah, take it down.
Saying no phones. No, it's called Wait Till 8.
The parents of a Greenfield fourth grader who took his own life 1 week ago are now speaking out. Our Chase Howell sat down with the child's parents who say their son was bullied relentlessly.
10-year-old Sammy Touche was known by his family for being spontaneous, like here, when he jumped in this pond in 50-degree weather at the sight of some little waves.
How was it? Good.
That little laugh and his big smile may not be heard or seen around the Touche home anymore, but will live in their hearts forever.
He was my little boy. He was my baby. He was the youngest one.
Sammy's family says he killed himself Sunday morning.
I held him in my arms and I did things that no father should ever have to do. And anytime I closed my eyes, that's all I could see.
According to Sammy's family, he was being bullied up until the night before he died. First, they say it started at his school, Greenfield Intermediate, about 2 years ago.
They were making fun of him for his glasses. In the beginning, they went on to make fun of his teeth.
What started as words, they say, progressively turned physical.
He was beat up on the school bus, and the kid broke his glasses and everything, and I called the school and I'm like, what are you doing about this? It keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It's not getting any better. As a matter of fact, it's getting worse.
His dad says this was just one of the 20 times he'd been in contact with the school about the bullying. I reached out to the superintendent of schools, Dr. Harold Olin, for an interview. And although he wasn't available, he did answer my questions. He says there was no bullying report ever submitted by the parents or the student. But he also says the school's administrators and counselor had regular conversation with the family throughout the year, but can't share the content of those conversations.
They knew this was going on.
Sammy's family says the bullying progressed from school and the bus to places like Snapchat, even despite him having limited access to his phone.
I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna beat you up when you get to school. I'm gonna, saying mean things about Nikki, which would really, really set him off.
His suicide they believe was because he feared going to school after an incident in the bathroom last week and the constant harassment. And while the family may be putting Sammy to rest in the coming days, his mom wishes she was saying goodnight instead of goodbye.
I always tell the kids, because Sammy and his sister went to bed first because they were younger, and telling them they had to brush their teeth and get ready for bed, and having him not being there to hug before bed.
And that was our Chase Howell reporting. The Greenfield police chief is confronting rumors that started after Sammy's death. In a post on social media, Chief Brian Hartman says there are a lot of rumors going around, even some naming children. But he says the circumstances surrounding Sammy's death are still under investigation. For now, he urges parents to give kids the confidence to speak with teachers or other trusted adults if they are experiencing bullying. And if you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide or self-harm, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 988.
Take.
Today, hundreds of people came together to lay a 10-year-old.
The parents of a Greenfield fourth grader.
Take.
Today, hundreds of people came together to lay a 10-year-old little boy from Greenfield to rest.
We first brought you this story about Sammy Toish last week when his family told us he took his own life after being bullied.
Our Chase Howell today went to pay tribute to Sammy at his memorial.
More than 100 motorcycles driving side by side down New Road in Greenfield Tuesday morning. They're heading to Brandywine Church to pay respects to a boy who most have never met, but they're moved by his story. Inside the church, a memorial dedicated to a fourth grader who died by suicide. Just beyond the doors to the auditorium,
little did I know a year ago how important my life and my family's life to the Toish family would be.
his loved ones shared memories of little Sammy Toish. After the service, motorcycles muttered as his uncles and older brothers carried his casket out of the church and placed it into the hearse. Those same motorcyclists followed the procession to Section 26 of a Greenfield cemetery, where Sammy is now at rest. And as family and some of the 10-year-old's classmates surround his casket, they're united in grief as the pastor reads a final prayer.
May you help us be the love and comfort and compassion to the Toish family and beyond. May we see this new day and may it start right now. Your kingdom come, your will be done, like it is in heaven. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
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 That was Chase Howell reporting for us.
A candlelight vigil is now planned for Friday night between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Right now it's planned to be at the park behind the restaurant depot in Greenfield. This, of course, is weather permitting.
Can't help but cry. Very emotional. How to deal with bullying. I got it scrolled across the screen. Bullying can happen anywhere to anyone, school, work, or home. Sure, we all know the stereotype of the playground bully pining to steal your lunch money, or the gossip girl ready to spread an ugly rumor. But the truth is that bullying happens every day in both obvious and subtle ways that are a far cry from the Regina George rumor mill. If you are experiencing bullying, know that you are not alone. Although it's hard to know exactly how many people have experienced bullying, most estimates indicate that the vast majority of people experience bullying at some point. It's a serious problem that can be detrimental for self-confidence, and can significantly impact one's ability to feel safe, do the best work, and take care of themselves. Bullying is repeated, hurtful actions with the intention of demonstrating power and balance, and it can take many forms in person, physical attacks, verbal taunting, and even cyberbullying. While still hurtful, bullying is not a one-off act of unkindness. Bullying is ongoing, consistent, and relentless, chipping away at someone's sense of self over time. I don't know what episode happened in the bathroom. Everyone that did not do anything, and seems like these kids were never reprimanded. That's a little too late for that little boy, isn't it, y'all? It's a little too late for him. When are you people going to realize? Don't say kids will be kids. Stop it. This should never have happened. Bullying is no joke. Studies show that persistent bullying is associated with symptoms of mental health challenges like anxiety and depression. This is especially true for young people, many of whom navigate the psychological challenges of bullying long after the bullying has ended. I know somebody that's still got mental health issues severely. He distrusts everyone. He will not even hardly go out in public. Um, he told me that when he was going to school, a group of boys did this just about all the time, so many times a day, that they literally picked him up and put his head down in toilet bowls. He's got mental health problems severely still from that today. Signs of bullying. Bullying is sometimes hard to spot. There are some key warning signs. To keep top of mind. Paying attention to the warning signs could help you support your friend and friends to reach out to help when you need it. People are being bullied may show any of these signs, which the parents did right. They went to the school. Over 20 reports. They basically that's begging them do something about this. Do something about this. But it's like, yeah, you might have had conversations with them, but you did nothing about it. Nothing at all. There's been other cases where people have they killed themselves, and there's 9 million that the family got in New Jersey. A girl that's 11 years old. Do y'all want to go ahead and have to pay that kind of fine? Y'all might say, "Wow, that's a lot of money." That's never going to bring the child back. Online bullying and any other kind of bullying. Exactly. Doorboat and horse comes to my mind about bullying. Yeah, it should never happen. That's right. They could get injuries they can't explain, which they hit him and they broke his glasses. He had bruises under his face. I don't know the incidents, what happened in the bathroom, but that seemed to have festered it, and they said that they would end up doing it again. How dare they? This boy did not feel safe, and yet it's the law that we have to send our kids to school. So the parents, what do you do when you're forced to send your kids to school and there are these bullies and then the school system don't do nothing about it to protect your kids? You're sending them in there to possibly be even murdered by these other kids. That's happened in numerous cases. We know that. Changes in eating and sleeping, faking illness or claiming to feel sick, headaches and stomach aches, avoiding social situations, including those with people who were once their friends, decreased self esteem, self harm, or other dangerous behaviors, losing possessions, worsening academic performance. People who are bullying others may show any of these signs: getting into fights, getting into more trouble at school, becoming more aggressive, having friends who bully, showing concern about their reputation and popularity. Crisis text line is here to help with bullying. Reach a crisis counselor or text us home to 741-711. 41, excuse me. Help for bullying. If you are being bullied, it might feel like there's no end in sight. No fear. There are so many people, us included, here to help. Here are few ways to beat bullying. Give us a lowdown. Try texting us if you're being bullied and need someone to lend an ear. Or text it home to 741-741. You can connect with a crisis counselor who can listen totally judgment free and help you strategize ways to get through the day. Tell a teacher if you're being bullied at school, there are people around you every day whose entire job is to keep you safe and help you learn. That's what they failed. They were to keep that boy safe and to help him learn, to protect him. Telling a teacher you need help with a bully could help you get the support you need to get back to spending your school days filling your brain with knowledge. Ay, ay, ay. Find a new crew. No need to waste your time on people who don't make you feel good. Find the people who fill you up and fill your time with them. That might mean branching out, try a new activity, join a club, or maybe finally reach out to that person you've been too shy to schedule a friend date with. But tip, when you're in the thick of it, popularity can feel like everything. In reality, the only person who should care about who you are spending your time with is you. Forget prom queen and prioritize the people who prioritize you. Got felt a big time, didn't it? Take a break. If you're the one bullying, take some time to reflect on why you're bullying. Maybe in self reflection, you'll find that you're taking out your anger and frustration on someone who deserves kindness. So everyone is that someone. You know what? They're going like this and get more prone to arresting you bullies. Do you want to end up in jail or in a girl or boys' home? You think you're infallible that won't happen to you? It's more likely that it will happen to you. And these teachers and all that did nothing, and students, including that school board member superintendent, you need to go to jail. You need to lose your job. False information. You knew that there was a problem. You said they've been talking to them, but you said, but there ain't been no reports. Bald faced lie. Now somebody lost their life because you did not protect. You did not help protect this kid either. Shame, shame on you all. Bullying can take many forms. Here are some of the most common: physical bullying, hurting or trying to hurt someone's body. Think kicking, hitting, pushing. Verbal bullying, saying things to hurt a person's feeling. This can include teasing, threats, and name calling. Social bullying, destroying someone's reputation or relationships. For example, this can be purposely leaving someone out or spreading rumors. Cyberbullying, of course, do not forget cyberbullying. About 40% of young people experiencing cyberbullying at some point. Cyberbullying is any act of verbal or social bullying that occurs through technology, hurtful texts, unkind social media posts, chat room harassment. That's all bullying, and it's not okay. Racial bullying. Bullying can happen to anyone, but racial bullying is particularly charged. Racial bullying is a manifestation of racism and includes any bullying related to one's race, culture, or ethnicity. This could include racist names or threats, racist graffiti, personal attacks on one's identity. The effects of bullying. Bullying affects everyone, not just the person being bullied. People who are bullied may experience anxiety and depression, making it hard to eat, sleep, and maintain a functioning social life. Fear, isolation, constant worry, all often the result of bullying. Bullies need help and support too. Sometimes bullies engage in violent and abusive behavior in conjunction with substance abuse, fighting, and criminal activity. But the kind of help that bullies don't need, to cover it up, to say the other person it's their fault, to try to shield the bully from them having to face the repercussions of their actions. That's not the kind of help. Bullying and suicide. There's a relationship between bullying and suicide, but like anything, it's complicated. People who experience bullying may experience anxiety and depression, increasing the risk of feeling suicidal. Bystander effect. People experiencing bullying are the only ones affected by bullying. Know someone being bullied? You, the bystander, can help stop bullying in your community. Help victims find safety. Tell bullies their behavior is hurtful and unacceptable and refer your community to resources. Pro tip, you can always tell someone to dial 741-741 when you think they might need help. Crisis Text Line is here to help with bullying. Text HOME to 741-741 a day. Pass 741 on to a friend. You never know who might need Crisis Text Line. Pass it on and tell the people in your life to text HOME to 741-741 if they're ever in a crisis. This is a bad situation and it should never happen, as I had said that before. And let me go ahead and I'll show you another story right quick. Okay, mom whose daughter died by suicide says parents need to talk with their kids. Brittany took a check and her says her daughter died by suicide after being bullied. Okay, let me get the StreamYard audio. I did not know there was going to be an audio.
Look at America's youth and the challenges of their mental health. The Surgeon General sensitive to the issues they're facing, making it a priority to help.
This morning, disturbing statistics showing a rising suicide rate.
In the decade prior to the pandemic, there was a 57% increase in the suicide rate among young people. And today, nearly half of high school students are telling us that they feel persistently sad or hopeless.
The largest increase among males ages 15 to 24, an 8% increase from 2021 to 2022. But overall, the highest increase seen in youth ages 10 to 24 and Black children, nearly 37% higher than the year before. The mental health epidemic hitting college campuses like North Carolina State, where 7 students have died from apparent suicides this year, to small communities like DeKalb, Illinois, where Nevaeh Mitchell was a cheerleader and active in her community.
She was my goofball. She was always cracking jokes, making people smile.
But she struggled with her mental health.
Did you have a sense that Nevaeh was struggling more than she had been?
No, her father and I thought everything was fine. looking back, and I've thought back a million times, as you can probably believe, but I can honestly say no.
In 2021, 22% of high school students reported seriously considering attempting suicide. 18% of high school students made a suicide plan during the past year. 10% of high school students attempted suicide one or more times, with 3% resulting in injury.
We've also seen that LGBTQ youth have also been suffering with rates.
Yeah, let me go back to go. Make sure that I did put it back. My voice. Mom, whose daughter died by suicide, says parents need to talk with their kids. This was September 27th, 2023. That off of there, over here to the right. Brittany Tchatner remembers her daughter, Isabella, whom she called Izzy. As the sweetest person she has ever met, someone who was resilient and amazing, a 10-year-old child whose eyes were big and brown. Those memories of her daughter as a vibrant fifth grader made it harder, she says, to reconcile that her daughter died by suicide nearly 2 years ago on November the 6th, 2021. I just didn't know how bad it was, Jagner told Good Morning America of Izzy's mental health struggles, which she said were a result of bullying. I think she made a temporary decision in a moment, and I'll never forget that. Kitchener said it was only after her daughter's death that she heard from other kids at her daughter's local public elementary school in their home state of Utah the full extent of the bullying she says Izzy endured. I knew part of it. I kept calling the school. I kept calling the district, but I didn't know the severity of it, she said. I told her you could tell me anything, as she normally did. But I kind of feel like she was trying to protect me. I just wish she had told me. Kitchener said on some days Izzy, who she said was autistic and was one of the few black students in her school, would open up to her about the taunts she said she endured from her classmates and even some of her teachers. Even some of the teachers taunted her. I know one thing. She just tired of the kids at school, Kitchener said. That's what she kept telling me, she said. They kept making fun of the dot on my head. Bullying in school has been on the rise in recent years, according to a survey of over 130,000 kids ages 9 to 18, released in August by the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. That's a beautiful little knot right there. It's a beautiful kid. How dare you all make fun of her? How dare you all? According to the survey, 40% of youth say they were bullied on school property in the past year, up from 37% in 2022, while 18% of youth say they have experienced cyberbullying. At the same time, data is also showing a growing mental health crisis among young people in the United States. Approximately 5.8 million children in the U.S. had diagnosed anxiety between 2016 and 2019, and approximately 2.7 million kids had diagnosed depression in the same time period, according to data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. I'm having to wipe my tears, sorry. With recent years showing rising numbers of diagnoses for both mental health conditions. In a report from U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek H. Murthy warned of a growing mental health crisis among young people, and that was in 2021. The report issued during the coronavirus pandemic cited statistics involving a 51% increase in emergency room visits for suspected suicide attempts among girls and a doubling of anxiety and depression symptoms reported across genders. That same year, suicide was the second leading cause of death for adolescents ages 10 to 14 and young adults ages 20 to 34 in the U.S., according to CDC. Tickner said she was in the process of moving Izzy to a new school when her daughter died. Yes, poor girl. That's right. I didn't want the next school she went to go and get bullied there, Tickner said. By the time I thought I found the perfect school, she had already took her life. I can't help but blame myself because I wish I would have gotten to it sooner. In August, Titchener and the school district Izzy attended, Davis School District, announced a $2 million settlement amid allegations that Izzy was bullied and that teachers and administrators had not stopped their reported harassment. And of course, they said that even some of the teachers bullied her. Some of the teachers, they not only did not stop the reported harassment, they were actually a part of the harassment as well. Nobody knows the trauma of a parent who loses a kid. Titchener said of what she endured the past 2 years. Correlation between bullying and suicide. When it comes to the connection between bullying and suicide, data shows there is a correlation, but experts say more research remains to be done. The CDC defines bullying as unwanted, aggressive behavior among school-aged children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. Bullying, the agency notes, is also a behavior that is repeated or can be repeated over time. Both young people who report bullying others and those who report being bullied are at increased risk for suicide related behavior. In recent years, the correlation between bullying and suicide has increased in the public's eyes as several families, including Titchener, have spoken out publicly after losing a child to suicide. In July, the parents of a 12-year-old girl who died by suicide after experiencing bullying reached a $9.1 million settlement in a wrongful death lawsuit against their local New Jersey school district, their lawyers said at the time. In May, an elite boarding school, also in New Jersey, released a statement publicly admitting its failure to protect the 17-year-old student who died by suicide in 2022 after experiencing bullying. That student's mother, Elizabeth Reed, told Good Morning America at the time, "What we realized from our situation is that bullying can lead to death. This is a very serious issue, and the internet absolutely makes it even worse for kids today." In the nearly 2 years since Izzy's death, Titchener, a mom of five, has made her mission to make sure no other parent endures the loss of a child due to bullying or suicide. She launched a nonprofit agency or organization called Izzy's Village that she described as a place for young people, particularly young people of color, to find support for bullying and mental health struggles. though she said she feels like a piece of her died when Izzy died. Titchener said she continues to share her family story also as a way to help educate other parents. I want people to know her story because I want other parents to check their kids on bullying. She said it's not okay. Thank you so much for getting the word out. Thank you for starting your organization. Can an app help stop bullying and improve mental health? In Utah, where Titchener still lives, health officials are putting their hope into meeting kids where they already are on their phones to help them cope with mental health struggles. Say UT is an app where young people have access 24/7 to chat with a mental health professional and can submit a tip about mental health or bullying concerns regarding their peers. The app was created by legislators, educators, and public health officials in response to data showing that suicide is the leading cause of death for youth and young adults in Utah, according to Rachel K. Lucienski, Director of Community Crisis Services with the Huntsman Mental Health Institute at the University of Utah. Lucinski said the app now serves more than 885,000 elementary, middle, and high school and college students across the state. The app saw record usage last year with more than 1 million messages recorded with mental health professionals and over 9,000 confidential tips submitted, according to Lucinski, who said the tips are triage, sorry, please forgive me, who said the tips are triaged and responded to by behavioral health specialists as well. The triage, if a lot of people don't know, that's when you go into like emergency room and they triage, they check you in and take your vitals, do other things to see how you're doing. The most commonly reported tip pertains to suicide, typically a young person reporting hearing a friend talk about hurting themselves. The second most commonly reported tip is general mental health concerns, followed by bullying, according to Lucinski. We know that students who even witness bullying, not just experience bullying, can be traumatized by that, and it can increase their level of mental health and behavioral health issues. Lucinski said, adding, it obviously can have catastrophic impacts on someone's feelings of self worth, feelings of safety at school, and in reality, really, unfortunately, extremely tragic situations. It can result in a student taking their own life or attempting to take their own life because of the bullying that they've experienced. Brzezinski noted that parents and educators may also use the Safe UT app to report mental health concerns based on changes in kids' behaviors. We also want to remind parents that if they're seeing changes in their students' behavior, if they're seeing that they're withdrawn, that they're not as interested or engaged in social activities or friends or extracurriculars like they used to be, or they have an extreme aversion to going to school, there can be something else going on, she said. So we want parents to know that it's important that they talk to their school, students at home, well, to talk to their kids at home about what they are experiencing. After losing her own daughter, Titchener is now working with Safe UT to help launch an anti-bullying campaign and a advisory council. I just want parents to know this is serious, Titchener said. If as parents we don't intervene or step in, this kind of stuff will keep happening, and I don't want it to happen to anybody else. There's a daughter of her. Here's a picture of her daughter. Titchener said that looking back on her experience, she wishes she had followed her parental instinct and sought help sooner. Your children tell you something, that they're getting bullied, Do what you need to do to protect them and make sure you're there as a support 24/7. Kitchener said parents should also make an effort to know who their kids' friends are at school and to talk to their kids at home. Talk to them. Talk to them until they're blue in the face, Kitchener said, because whether your kid is doing the bullying or they're the one getting bullied, it needs to be talked about. Mental health experts say that when it comes to talking about mental health and even suicide with kids, more is better. Nothing that instead of putting the idea of suicide in a child's mind by talking about it, you're letting your child know that they can open up to you about their feelings. It goes on, talking about it, ways to talk about mental health, suicide, and bullying with kids, including a document with ideas for conversation starters on these topics. So you go to this link, it's Safe UT, got free resources. Titchener said that in addition to parents talking with kids, the willingness of a parent like Titchener who has lost a child to suicide to speak out and share her story is just as impactful. I think it's very easy to read news stories or watch things online and think, gosh, it's horrible, but it won't happen to me, the CNC said. But we really all need to stay alert and vigilant as a community for those of us who are suffering and how we can be that hope and that light for someone in a dark moment. Yet not everyone who has experienced suicide loss is at a point in their grieving process that they're able to talk about it. So the fact that Brittany is able to share what the impact has been on her and make people more aware of this issue is extremely important and definitely has the potential to save lives. It's another thing right here. If you or someone you know are experiencing suicidal, substance use, or other mental health crises, please call or text 988. You'll reach a trained crisis counselor for free, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can also go to 988lifeline.org. I want to thank everyone for coming today. I know that it's really hard subject to get with, but this is senseless. I need to do something about protecting our kids. You can't imagine what any kid goes through being bullied. I've seen grown adults break down because of bullying. Oh yeah, it is horrific, especially if you are used to being bullied so much and it's got more of a lasting impact on you into your adulthood. It's almost like a never ending thing of self esteem that you keep battling. Well, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much, Jackie. Love and appreciate you, girl. Hugs. Thank you. God bless you.